Hey guys, I'm back. Well, as reading this title you already know what is coming, and I don't want to talk long because as of making this video I am very pissed off due to the ignorance of K-pop stans. And of course it deals with the anti-blackness in the K-pop community. So let's get into it. I have a lot to say. This is an open letter to white or non-black K-pop stans because you have me all the way fucked up. Your anti-blackness and overt racism sickens me as a black person. You preach Black Lives Matter but then police black people on their feelings about anti-black issues. Get that BLM hashtag out of your bio because you obviously don't care about us and will never care about us. Now, you might be wondering, what caused me to get this frustrated? Well, upon scrolling the cesspool which we know as Twitter, I found a lot of obviously white people pretending to be black stans and using the fateful, "I'm black, I'm not offended" to combat their racism. I am sick to my stomach. And I've seen this happen everywhere. When someone points out a idol's wrongdoings they gaslight us BIPOCs, especially black people, because they don't want the public to know what their idol did. Honestly, fans like this are the reason why I have stopped standing as many groups as I used to, because I honestly can't take it anymore. It's getting tiring and annoying. Now, I'm probably going to get cancelled before I even begin because I'm going to call out the K-pop groups, artists, and fandoms that I have a problem with and explain why, one by one. Let's start this shit. Number 1, ARMYs. Now, you might say, Sky Me, aren't you an ARMY? You have Hobie as your profile picture, the second half of ARMY is in your name. Yes, I am an ARMY. They are my ULT group and seemingly one of the only groups that don't disappoint me when it comes to being respectful to black people. Now, this is not about BTS because they aren't the problem, it's the fandom. Specifically the white and Korean and Japanese fans. Now, let's section this off because I've been a casual listener since 2016 but became an actual ARMY during 2020, and I have a lot to say. Since for those about 4 years, I watched from the sidelines. I did like the boys and their music but I wasn't there when it came to fully committing, and during that time I noticed a lot about the fandom. I noticed that white Korean and Japanese fans can kiss my ass. Now, I'm not talking about all white Korean and Japanese ARMYs. I am talking about the very loud few. Those loud-ass fans that give a bad rep to ARMYs as a whole. Anyway, I'm getting off topic but I have a personal vendetta against these 3 groups' fans specifically. Now let me call y'all out one by one. Firstly, white ARMYs. What is your problem? Why do you go out of your way to purposefully embarrass yourselves? It seems as if it is every day that I see a white ARMY embarrassing her whole race. If you're on Twitter or TikTok, you remember that girl making that video where she was dating Jungkook and she said, "White Lives Matter." You remember her, 'cause I do. I remember her saying that it was a joke, but I also remember not laughing. That girl and the girls getting the same tattoos on their hand as Jungkook represent the entitlement that white stans have. They are the minority in this fandom but they feel the need to push their fucked up beliefs on others and get mad when people say that they are being offensive. The White Lives Matter joke was offensive. My life and other black people's lives are not jokes. In my eyes it seems like you were joking about the deaths of men and women at the hands of the police. And when other stans told you that you were wrong, you passed it off as a joke. A joke. I'm not laughing. And I know the viewer is not laughing, so where is the joke? White ARMYs do everything in their power to try to put down POC, specifically black stans. They do it every chance they get. They do it when ARMYs jokingly talk about BTS's future partners. You guys remember that time on Twitter where white ARMYs were preaching that they will never date black girls because they are ugly, unprovoked? I remember that and I wasn't even an ARMY back then. And those same white girls think they have a chance too. Newsflash. BTS are POCs, they are Asian, they live in Korea, and 6 out of 7 of them speak only Korean. Why the fuck do you think you have a chance as well? And I can promise you that 10 out of 10 of the time they say these things unprovoked. Saying black girls are ugly and monkeys is anti-black. It is racist. There should be no what-ifs about this. Why do you feel the need to say things like this? Black ARMYs know that BTS will probably end up with Korean girls, or guys. I don't want to assume. We are merely joking and lifting each other up in a world that actively tries to put us down. Do white stans feel empowered by shoving in others' faces that they are the beauty standard? Is that it? Do you feel empowered by your anti-black actions? White ARMYs need to realize that not everything is about you and you can't just pick and choose when you like black people. You use BLM as a weapon. You use BTS donating to excuse what BTS have done in the past. Them donating doesn't erase their ignorance, but it shows that they have grown from it. They recognize their wrongdoings and respect and support the black community as much as they can. Them donating was not for white people to use it as a weapon for when they are personally called out for their ignorance. White stans doing this just shows you don't care about black people. We are a weapon and trend to you. Our lives are not disposable. Do you think BTS would like your behavior? They won't. You are the people that they preach against. There have been so many times where the boys have opened up about the racism in the music industry and what other BIPOC artists have gone through at the hands of white people. Why would you think that they would not care that you are acting like this? And this fuels the joke of that Taehyung hates white people. You know that joke. White stans call it racist. Are you kidding me? It is a coping mechanism used by people of color by analyzing Taehyung's reaction to clout-chasing white celebrities. You are not oppressed and you will never be. Stop colonizing your way into POC's jokes. When we joke around and call a idol light-skinned or dark-skinned, I don't want to see a white person tweeting the same thing. You don't have the right to put your input. But this doesn't just apply to white stans but non-black stans in general. You have your own thing and we have ours. Not everything needs to be about you. Enjoy from the sidelines like we have for you. And go outside, get a life, get a job, touch some grass. Let us be. Next, Korean fans. They are a whole nother breed. And now, I do want to point out once again that these fans get a lot of flack and some don't deserve it, but I am talking about the ones who do. But can Korean fans go one full day without being microaggressive, colorist, or racist? Come on now. It seems like it is every day that I see a tweet of AK Army making fun of a member's skin color. That is colorist. And I don't want fans to preach that they don't know. Excuse me. Korea has the fastest internet in the world. They can look it up. Neither is at their fingertips. Stop infantilizing Koreans. It is not up to black stans to teach them ourselves. We are tired. Because if they really cared, they would educate themselves on their own time, but they couldn't be bothered. They are entitled. It seems as if they don't care about anyone outside of their country. If the boys do wrong, they will most likely be the ones to try and cover it up, especially if it's a serious offense. But they will be the same ones to get mad at Jungkook for going out to dinner with his friends in a time where he was legally permitted to do so. How can you not talk about serious things that involve racism and coloristic tendencies but get mad at the boys for living their adult lives? I can't seem to stress enough that they are adults. They don't belong to you. Leave them be. Also, stop whitewashing them. People say that it is a part of their beauty standard and traditions, which is true, but it doesn't make it right. America used to have slavery and it was normal, but was that right? No. So why are you enabling them? Whitewashing idols is colorist and comes off racist to black fans. Because of it, I remember thinking, as a new fan, that the boys looked like Casper the fucking Ghost. I was surprised when I saw that they are extremely tan in person. So what the fuck? And don't say it makes them look prettier because that comes across very colorist and anti-black. Are you saying that tanner-skinned people are ugly because of their skin, something they can't naturally control? Get it together. And I don't want to see white stans defending their actions because I will take pride in deleting your comment. It is wrong and gives impressionable viewers the thought that they can't be pretty because of something as stupid as their skin color. Imagine being a black person, a Desi, a dark-skinned Korean or East Asian, or a darker-skinned anything. Imagine being a dark-skinned black person and seeing this. It would probably suck, right? Korean armies need to stop thinking they are better than international armies, and vice versa. You are not better than us. We are the same. We all support the same members. And stop neglecting certain members because they are quote-unquote ugly and too dark. If you don't love all 7, then you are not an army. Check your privilege. International fans learn about your culture for the boys, in hopes of not offending you. Why can't you do the same back? It's basic human decency. And Japanese armies. I'm going to cut this one short because the same thing I said about Korean armies also applies to you. Out of the two that I have mentioned, you are the lesser evil. Or maybe it's because I don't see a lot of J armies on Twitter, acting a fool, like I see white armies or Korean armies. You lot aren't that bad but do some questionable things like whitewashing. Also, you purposely leave out the rap line, but that doesn't fall into being anti-black, colorist, or microaggressive, so I'll skip over that. Even though it seems very anti-black when I see AJ Army making fun of June, a full dark-skinned king. Leave him the fuck alone. I don't really have much to say, so I'll get on to the next fandom, group, or artist that I need to discuss. I've been talking about armies for way too long. Now, let's talk about muumuus. I never thought I could hate a fandom as much as I hate muumuus. You guys almost never want the girls to take accountability. They are prone to say, get over it, when Mamamoo have done countless anti-black and cultural appropriative actions. You know that muumuus have been trying to cover up the blackface incident. They say that it was years ago, yes, but it doesn't make it right. You are not black, so stop telling me how I should fucking respond to something as serious as that. Saying that we should just forget about it is anti-black. I don't need non-black people telling me how I should feel. And I know muumuus always bring up Namjoon, but he is the last person you should bring up. He has learned and shown extreme growth, and he also didn't do something as offensive as blackface. As I know it, Mamamoo are still finding a way to offend any community that is not East Asian or white. They have not shown me that they have grown. Stop pushing them to be the staple of K-pop in the West, it won't work out. Because as soon as Black Twitter finds their blackface incident, those girls will never be allowed to perform on a TV in the States and never hear the end of it. And muumuus trying to hide it will only make things worse. They are wrong and were wrong and have a long way to go before people actually start accepting them. And most of the time, nobody is openly hating on the girls as you think they are. Calm down. And stop running with the fact that one black person told you that they accepted Mamamoo's apology. We are not a monolith. Just because one person agrees does not mean the whole community would. And the whole, I'm black and I'm not offended bullshit, needs to stop. I know that you are white saying this. You think you are fooling someone. You're not. And if you're black, you're a pick-me. Did you get what you wanted? Did you get that white validation that you ever so deserve? I hope it was worth it because your black card has been revoked. You are no longer a negro. I swear muumuus are the most delusional fandom I have ever seen. Jesus. Also, I want to bring up that these quote-unquote black people who are from Africa and are not offended need to shut the fuck up. You know why African Americans get more offended than Africans? It is because we can tell when someone is mocking us. Others have never been around another race, they see it as appreciation when in reality they are making fun of them. African Americans have grown up with people like this taking their culture for granted and picking and choosing what they like or not. Africans have never experienced it firsthand, so they don't know how to point it out. And this also applies to American Desis as well, and American Latinos. Cultural appropriation is not an American problem, it is a worldly problem. It is just that Americans seem to be the only ones who actually notice it and want fucking change. I was going to make a point about Netherlands and G-Idol, but honestly, almost everything I said about muumuus applies to them, just tone it back a bit. Honestly, the whole ethnic hip thing was a hot mess, and as of now, that's all I know about, so I won't waste time on them because it will be very short and straight to the point. So I'm going to talk about Blinks and Blackpink. Blackpink are more prone to being disrespectful to Desis, and since I am not a Desi, I won't get too deep into it. But if any Desis want to air anything out in the comments, I will make sure your voice will be heard. Anyway, I don't hate Blackpink. I feel like I have to say this before Blinks jump me. I don't, I just hate their ignorance. Blinks always blame everything on YG when sometimes the girls have purposely done it themselves. Yes, the braids were most likely the stylist's fault, but dismissing it is wrong. The incident needs to be properly addressed and talked about without Blinks pointing fingers at people and blindly calling them aunties. As a fandom, you need to grow up. Blackpink are not unproblematic and continue to do downright racist and disrespectful things to others. Address it and maybe people will leave the girls alone. You can't complain that everyone doesn't like them for their cultural appropriation and disrespectful behavior and then push it under the rug. That's a big reason why people don't like the girls, because of you Blinks. And don't do that, it's Blonks not Blinks shit. No, they are Blinks. No other fandom does that. You pushing them away is not taking accountability. And by saying that, you are not doing what you think you're doing. It's only creating more trouble within the fandom and is making other fandoms not like you 10 times as much. It's annoying for when I'm trying to have a productive conversation about immature Blinks and someone says, those aren't Blinks, those are Blonks. You are unknowingly shifting the conversation and blame. You are not taking accountability. You saying that added nothing to the conversation. You are being annoying, and I can vouch for many other fandoms that a lot of them feel the same way. If I am talking about how Blackpink danced to an inappropriate stereotype of Desi's and laughed and how Blinks were trying to cover it up, you saying Blinks did it does not help the situation. They are still Blinks whether you like it or not. The first step for the girls to take accountability is for the fandom to notice its problems as well. If someone does something bad in my fandom, I say that it was fucked up and listen to the other person respectfully, not excusing myself from accountability because people outside of the fandom will group us together no matter what. It's not problematic armies doing blah blah blah, it is armies doing blah blah blah. You get my drift? Why do you think that you are the special case? Well, shit. It seems like I'm going to have to make a part 2 or 3 or 4 because this video is getting too long. So, I'm going to end on a strong note. I'm pretty sure that everyone was waiting for this one, N-Citizens and NCT. Yep, I have a bone to pick with him as an ex-fan. Now, it seems like it's every other day that NCT does some ignorant shit. Literally almost all of the 23 members have done something and not apologized for it. And I'm sure everyone has heard of the recent scandal, Henry. Like wow, I trusted him. I honestly thought he would be the last person to do something as stupid as what he did, but boy was I wrong. Now, if you have been living under a rock for the past week, I will tell you what happened. Henry posted pictures, smiling and shit, while wearing dreads with a headband that had a Rasta design. And people were pissed, as they should be. And upon looking up the hashtag where people were asking for an apology, N-Citizens were trying to clear the searches. Are you fucking kidding me? Grow up and let him take accountability. And what hit the nail on the coffin was a video where a fan was trying to educate Henry, and with a wide-ass smile, he told her to skip to the next question. What? And that was the moment I decided to leave the fandom. I can't keep getting purposefully disrespected by these people. It's every other day. And those N-Citizens that stayed, you better hold them accountable. Because it's bullshit that I see people excusing it. I actually had a conversation on Twitter about this. If I can find it, I'll put the tweets on the screen and blur out the other person's name. See how they tried to take the blame away from the situation. Okay, so while planning out this video, the account clearly deleted its previous post that I was responding to. So I'm going to have to give you a rough synopsis of the post. The post was made by a white person defending Henry by saying since one quote-unquote black person who is Jamaican said they weren't offended, people shouldn't be mad. And I stumbled across this and was like, huh? Mind you, there is no evidence that this is an actual black person, just someone with no face claiming they are. They didn't seem very educated on the topic, and it made me believe that they were posing to be black in order to get some heat off of Henry's chest. Now, a white person posted a quote-unquote Jamaican's response to the situation. And non-black people in the replies were saying that they don't know if they should accept his apology. Excuse me, you are not black, you can't accept his apology because it doesn't pertain to you. But during my talk with this person, they claimed to be Jamaican as well, mid-conversation, when it was only necessary to prove my point wrong. Once again, it made me suspect them to be white because if they were Jamaican, I would assume that they know that there are other black people who wear dreads, not just Jamaicans. And not all Jamaicans are Rastafarians and can be Rastafarian. Either they are not educated on their own culture or they are a poser in my eyes. And this is the background information of some of the missing tweets that you will see on your screen being unavailable. I guess they deleted it after getting a lot of flack by black people in the replies. Anyway, here it is. I said, quote, this isn't just a Jamaican thing. This a black thing. AAs are angry because unlike Jamaicans they know how it feels and when someone is being disrespectful their culture. Jamaicans are usually in Jamaica and don't have contact with these kinds of people. They don't know that they would be the same people to call their hair ghetto or ratchet. It is still cultural appropriation for those Jamaicans and black people who don't get jobs for hairstyles like this. If you are not black, don't talk about how we should respond to this. The situation was handled wrong. And Henry was wrong for putting that on and posting a picture anyway. End quote. Next, the other person said, quote, but the Rasta colors are on the wig, it turns it into a Jamaican thing because the Rastafarian movement started in Jamaica. End quote. Then I said, quote, but not all Jamaicans are Rastafarian. Some Africans are Rastafarian as well, so your point is not valid. It is a black problem. And the hair itself is the problem for me. Any black person wears that hairstyle, the Rasta just made it worse. End quote. And that they said, quote, I know not all Jamaicans are Rastafarians. As someone who is Jamaican and has Rastafarian family members, of course I know this, but the Rastafarian movement started in Jamaica. Also, WDYM, the Rastas just made it worse. End quote. Then I said, quote, the hairstyle is not just offensive to Jamaicans. That's why every black person, like myself, is angry. The fact that the wig was Rastafarian made the situation 10 times worse. If it was just dreads, there would still be a problem among black people. End quote. Now, that was a mouthful, but do you see what I am trying to show you? You guys need to stop bringing up other black people who said they weren't angry just to prove your point, when you were wrong. We are not a monarchy. Because one black person is not angry doesn't mean that the majority won't be. You doing this is only taking attention away from the situation. Henry needs to apologize. You need to understand that he offended a lot of people, and the fact that MCT is always in mess like this made people even more mad. If he had just said sorry, and if MCT hadn't had many scandals about CA this year, I would have let it slide, but I can't. I will come out with a part 2 when other fandoms piss me off, so look forward to it. Also, tell me what fandoms piss you off and why in the comments. I would love to read them and I might put them in a video. Anyway, have a good day and bye.